today we are going to talk about the biggest mistake that resellers make when they are building their stores. So before we get into that, I'm 𝗎cie_𝗶𝗹. I sell on Amazon and I have sold on eBay and Depop in the past. And if you want to support me, then you can subscribe. That really means a lot to me. And let's get right into it. So the number one mistake that resellers make when they are running their stores is that they do not think about their effectiveness. They don't think about it. They just think what I'm doing is fine. It's not a big deal. It's okay if I go to UPS and spend a half hour bringing all my boxes and wasting a complete half hour when I could have just paid money to have them pick it up. They say it's okay if I went to 6 different Walmarts today and spent 3 hours traveling. They say it's okay to only go for high ROI items instead of just spending more money and making more profit per hour. Those mistakes really do add up over time. So these are the numbers that you need to be thinking about in your reselling business. So before we get into this, we need to look into the background of why we even make these types of mistakes in the first place. Think about someone who works a fast food job, for example, a Chick-fil-A job, a McDonald's job. They are literally saying to themselves, it is a good situation for me to be working for $12 an hour doing something that I don't like. They do not have healthy boundaries. Someone who doesn't do UPS pickups, a reseller, says, it is worth my time to bring all the boxes to the store, and it's not worth my time to pay the $10 to have them come pick it up and save 30 minutes or 40 minutes for myself. Basically, they say their hourly wage is under $20 an hour. You want to be treating yourself like you actually are making money, and the way that you do that is by eliminating the tasks that aren't making you money. We all have situations, whether we're in school or cultural or whatever it is, friends, family, whatever it is, that maybe tells us that we aren't worth as much as we really are, that we don't have as much to offer as we think that we do, that we have to settle for something like McDonald's or settle for just mediocre stuff. And that is 100% not true. And you can use this formula in your reselling in order to train yourself to do the tasks that actually push the needle forward, that actually make you more money in the long term. Because that's what we're looking for here, right? We're looking for trying to make solid money, and we're trying to not spend 80 hours a week doing it, you know? So this is what I've been doing for the last probably 7 or 8 months at this point. Every week I keep track of how many hours did I work, and eventually you probably want to stop doing this because you don't want to treat yourself like you're an employee, but whatever, this is a good exercise to get into the mindset of being effective. So how many hours did you spend on reselling this week? And then the number that really matters is how much potential profit did I list in my store? So how much potential profit did I source, both source and list, in my store this week? That's the input that matters. That's the only input that matters. That is the number one thing that matters. Focus on that. So let's say you end up spending 80 hours. So let's say you sourced 2,000 profit this week, and you got that listed, but it took you 80 hours. We'll go up to the formula here. So 2,000 and 2,000. Listing profit doesn't give you any extra profit. So basically, the smallest amount of time that you can spend listing your profit, the better. That's why something like a prep center is so helpful here. So that's why there's a 50% here. Sourcing it is 50% and listing it is 50%, and that adds up to the 2,000. So we have 1,000 here. We have 1,000 here. And let's say you have $300 of costs per week, and it took 80 hours. So this together, 2,000 minus 300 So that's 1,700 of value that you're putting into your business, and that's divided by 80 hours. So that would give us an hourly rate of $21 an hour. So that's much better than fast food, but there's obviously, like, if someone's working 80 hours on this in order to do this input, they are probably doing stuff like taking their boxes to UPS. They're probably doing something like retail arbitrage, where they're going store to store and spending a lot of time finding items. They're probably doing all of their prep, and they might not even be quick at it. Basically, if you take a look at all the things that you're doing over the course of a week, you'll be able to figure out what's slowing you down, and you'll be able to figure out what you need to do more of in order to get this number to be more effective. Obviously, at the start, you're going to be learning a ton of things. This is more of a intermediate type video. As a complete beginner, you're not going to be extremely efficient because you're trying to learn how to set up Inventory Lab. You're going to be trying to learn how to source, like, at the very basic level. You're going to be learning how to do every single little thing in order to make your business run. But once you're like past that point where you're learning all these little basic things, you don't need to be settling for doing things that don't move the needle forward. It's extremely helpful to be very intentional about what you're doing and the effects that it's having on your business. And so if you see a pattern of, wow, I spent 4 hours doing a certain activity that didn't make this number more efficient for you, then maybe you need to think about, like, what can I do differently in order to be more effective? Just because you came from a background potentially where you worked fast food or where you felt like you had to work a job in order to make solid money, that doesn't mean that you can't make this number more efficient. If you're self-employed, you can make that number more efficient. You have options. You can hire people to help you. And yes, that's going to be a process of you learning how to do it. But over the long period of time, like, this number is going to get better and better, and you're going to grow more and more as a person in your reselling business. So if this is helpful for you, then feel free to help me out by subscribing. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and take care.